Good afternoon, Bahamas. I'm Ramiko Nolt, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to the office of the Prime Minister in Freeport, Grand Bahama, where a press conference is slated to take place in just a few moments. Earlier today, Cabinet Ministers concluded its meeting on the island, and now we will hear from government officials on matters related to Grand Bahama. Let's go to the podium for the start of today's press conference.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Please have a seat. And welcome to the office of the Grand Bahama Ministry. When today we held a cabinet meeting. But I have better news than just the fact that we met here this morning. I start by saying good afternoon to all. And to remind our nation, from the very start of this term, our administration, I made my position clear. I was not prepared to accept the status quo, not in energy, not in governance, and not in an economy that placed unnecessary burdens on Bahamian families and businesses. Today, I want to begin by announcing the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the government of the Bahamas and Emera Incorporated relative to the Grand Bahama Power Company. This MOU reflects a shared commitment to explore a new path forward for energy in Grand Bahama. When completed, this would mark the first time the government of the Bahamas has control over the power company since the Hawksbill Creek Agreement was signed. This is important because it will result in universal electricity rates across the Bahamas, ending a long-standing disparity between Grand Bahama and the rest of our country. It matters because it strengthens national energy planning, and it matters because it directly supports our broader energy reform agenda aimed at bringing down the cost of electricity for Bahamian households and businesses. This is not about control for its own sake. It is about fairness. It is about affordability. And it is about aligning energy policy with the needs of the people and the modern economy we are building. Energy reform is one of the most important pillars of this administration's work. Lower energy costs mean lower costs of living. They mean more competitive businesses. They mean a stronger foundation for investment, job creation, and long-term growth in Grand Bahama and across our country. This MOU represents progress. It reflects careful work, serious engagement, and a willingness to do what previous administrations avoided. We are moving deliberately, responsibly, and in the public's interests. And we're doing so because accepting the status quo was never an option. Additionally, the government has mobilized Polycon, the construction company carrying out works for the Grand Bahama International Airport. And Polycon has engaged Bahamas Hot Mix to commence on-site preparation works. This marks an important transition from planning into physical activity on the ground, and it reflects our commitment to moving this project forward in a responsible and orderly way. The work is ongoing as I speak. This progress comes at a moment when Grand Bahama's tourism performance is demonstrating real momentum. In 2025, air arrivals to Grand Bahama increased by more than 30% compared to 2024 and exceeded pre-pandemic levels in 2019 by a similar margin. Even more striking, sea arrivals have expanded dramatically with more than a 90% increase in 2025 compared to 2024, and more than a 100% increase over pre-pandemic arrivals in 2019. These figures make Grand Bahama the fastest growing tourism destination in our country, and the economic impact is already being felt across transportation, hospitality services, and small businesses. Phase 1 of the Grand Bahama International Airport redevelopment represents a critical part of this growth strategy. With a capital expenditure of over $100 million, Phase 1 will deliver a new modern terminal designed to accommodate demand of up to 500,000 passengers annually, with ability to expand to 1 million. The facility will include an international and United States pre-clearance with a terminal footprint of approximately 100,000 square feet, alongside new taxiways, expanded apron space, and upgraded roadways and parking. As Bahamians know, the Grand Bahama International Airport has experienced flooding multiple times over the years. Addressing this reality is not optional. It is essential. It is essential. As a result, the environmental and flood mitigation work associated with this project is extensive. Environmental impact assessments, geotechnical studies, and flood mitigation surveys are currently being finalized to ensure the airport is built with long-term resilience in mind. This airport will anchor the Grand Bahama economy, consolidating the relaunch of Grand Bahama. It supports tourism, expands cargo, increased investment, and strengthens environmental resilience. The redevelopment of the Grand Bahama International Airport is central to the island's growth, and this administration will continue to move it forward with discipline, clarity, and a clear focus on delivering lasting value for the people of Grand Bahama. This administration has made a clear choice. We have chosen to be on the right side of history with the people of Grand Bahama. That choice has guided every major decision we have taken since coming to office. It has guided how we have approached recovery, how we have pursued investment, and how we have confronted systems that have held this island back for too long. Grand Bahama's history is bigger than any one project, any one property, or any one moment. The future of Grand Bahama rests on diversification, resilience, and a modern economy that creates opportunity across sectors, communities, and generations. When we came to office, Grand Bahama was carrying deep scars. Hurricane Dorian has left physical damage, economic disruption, and grief. Long-standing structural issues continue to limit growth and confidence. We understood that recovery would not mean returning to old patterns. It had to mean building something stronger. That is why we focused first on laying a foundation that addressed immediate needs while preparing the island for long-term growth. Since September 2021, Grand Bahama has seen over $3.5 billion in investments and commitments across tourism, maritime, health, logistics, energy, education, entertainment, and community development. This includes large-scale projects and Bahamian-led expansions alongside programs that put people to work and strengthen communities. At the same time, we invested in conditions that make growth possible. Housing repairs and recovery support, restoring government services in East Grand Bahama, community beautification and employment through the Beautiful Grand Bahama Initiative, empowerment grants for entrepreneurs, youth development, and skills training. This is deliberate. A diversified economy is built by aligning infrastructure, skills, capital, and confidence. It is built by strengthening the basics while preserving the island for new industries and larger opportunity. Part of laying a strong foundation required us to confront uncomfortable truths. For too long, the economic engine of Freeport was operated under arrangements that no longer reflect the needs or expectations of the people who live and work here. Growth stalled, investment slowed, decisions too often fell distant from daily realities. That is why we have chosen to challenge the status quo with the Grand Bahama Port Authority. We did not make this decision lightly. We did it because it was the right thing to do. We did it because a modern Grand Bahama requires modern governance, accountability, and a development model that keeps people at the center. Being on the right side of history sometimes means being willing to confront systems that are familiar, yet no longer fair, no longer fit for purpose, and no longer producing results. Now we build forward. Yesterday, we signed and advanced another major step in the relaunch of Grand Bahama's economy through MSC's major cruise terminal investment in Freeport Harbor. This is a serious expansion with real scale. MSC Cruises, through its affiliate and development company, will develop a new cruise ship pier, complex, and berthing area at Billy Key property in the city of Freeport, alongside new visitor and commercial infrastructure. The plan also includes upgrades to the existing port and retail village area of the Freeport Harbor. The estimated capital investment is $450 million, with $400 million allocated to the Billy Key port and related infrastructure, and $50 million allocated to a beach club and the refurbishment of the existing retail village refurbishment. This includes new cruise berths, a welcome plaza, retail and food and beverage, entertainment areas, transportation staging, and supporting amenities designed to increase visitor flow, expand local business opportunities, and strengthen Grand Bahama as a competitive cruise destination. The project is designed as a multi-user facility, supporting operational flexibility and positioning Grand Bahama to capture greater cruise activity, higher passenger volumes, and wider economic spillover into transportation, hospitality, culture, and small businesses. A broader role MSC continues to play in strengthening Grand Bahama as a serious maritime and logistics hub. They have already made a major investment in upgrades to new equipment at the Freeport Container Port, improving efficiency and capacity at a facility that is central to the island's industrial base. At the same time, MSC, together with another partner, is currently in negotiations regarding the potential acquisition of Hutchison Port's operations in multiple countries, including the Freeport Container Port. In Freeport, MSC holds a significant interest and is the principal user of that container terminal. These developments underscore a clear reality. Global operators are positioning Grand Bahama as a long-term logistics platform integrated into international shipping networks and capable of supporting sustained industrial and economic growth. This is the direction we are taking Grand Bahama as a brand. Grand Bahama as a serious port economy. Grand Bahama as a place where visitors arrive and spend, where Bahamian entrepreneurs build, and where communities benefit. And we continue to build a diversified investment platform across the island. The pipeline is broad, including the Grand Lucane redevelopment, the Grand Bahamas shipyard reinvestment, Carnival, MSC, the airport, health investments, clean energy, logistics, and education. Let me address the Grand Lucane. We are making steady progress. It is a complex transaction requiring careful sequencing. It requires proper approvals, coordination, and structured execution. That is exactly how we're approaching it. I understand the anxiety people feel. I understand the frustration when the pace feels longer than anyone wants. I also understand the temptation for some to turn every stage of work into drama, to create noise and to claim failure before the work reaches its next phase. The criticisms coming loudest from those who created the problem, they should hang their heads in shame and gratitude. We are only concerned with the development of Grand Bahama, not the incompetent political scammers who brought us this mess. We will ignore the noise. We'll keep doing what serious governments do. Protect workers, protect the public interest, move the project forward step by step in a way that is credible and sustainable. Grand Bahama deserve delivery, and they deserve honesty. They'll get both from this administration. There are people rooting for the failure of Grand Bahama. Some see political gain in doubt. Some want to keep the island trapped in old arguments and old disappointments. The mindset has no place in the future of Grand Bahama. Success is the only option because the people of Grand Bahama deserves nothing less. They deserve an economy that offers opportunity across tourism, maritime services, logistics, energy, creative industries, education, and entrepreneurship. They deserve infrastructure that supports growth. They deserve governance that listens and responds. When history looks back on this period, it will ask a simple question. Did we protect the public interest? Did we confront outdated systems? Did we invest in people? Did we build an economy that could withstand shocks and create opportunities? This administration intends to answer yes to every one of those questions. We are on the right side of history because we choose progress over comfort. We chose reform over delay. We chose to believe in Grand Bahama's potential and to act on that belief. The foundation has been laid. The direction is clear. The work continues. And relaunch of Grand Bahama's economy will be written with the people of Grand Bahama at the center. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. We will now give reporters an opportunity to ask questions. Again, we'd like to focus on today's events. One question per media house, beginning with Barbara Walken of Grand Bahama News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Ingham, I know you spoke about the Grand Lucane, the airport. There was some information out about West End. Can we get some information about the Copley International briefing that I heard saw out?
Yeah. I'm advised by the minister responsible for investments that there's been no approval. There's been no formal application for the project that is being mooted, and that discussions have been held and they are continuing.
Thank you. All right, Denise Walking, the Tribune. Denise Maycock, the Tribune, pardon me.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Some might feel as though Grand Bahama has been placed on the back burner when it comes to all of the critical projects that was announced and in the beginning of your administration. There's no hotel opening, there's no hospital opening, there's no Grand Lucine opening, there's no, sorry, I'm looking at my paper. There's no well development that was supposed to have opened. So what can you say to that?
What I say to that is that we're talking about openings. Things do not happen overnight. And I do understand the frustrations and sometimes the impatience of the electorate who becomes impatient at times over delivery of some things. But one has to understand what we inherited when we came to office. There's no plan in place for the opening and or redevelopment of Lucaya. There's no plan in place for any of those issues or any of those projects that you say have not been opened yet. But look at where we are today. When we inherited a country that was on the verge of collapse. Don't ask me. As a journalist, you go and Google the IMF report that I call them the medical doctor that comes in to look at our vital signs to see whether or not we are healthy or not. They would tell you that we are very unhealthy, that the country's economy was in the intensive care unit on life support, and they'll tell you what they were advising me to do. They'll also tell you that I did not follow the advice. And when you look at their report, they'll tell you that our recovery from where we were was remarkable. Don't take my word for it, please. Google it and quote from the IMF report itself. I invite you to do that.
Okay, next question.
No, let me finish. Let me finish. All right? Let me finish. Because turning keys, openings, even though those things have not happened, other things have happened. The economy has recovered, but recovery was never the end game for me. It was to grow the economy, and Grand Bahama economy is growing. Things have started. The hospital has started, and things don't happen. If you understand anything about projects, you'll appreciate that it takes 3, sometimes 4 years for it to complete. And Celebration Key is open. And what else open? Grand Bahama Shipyard is going. The hospital is going up. Progress is visible. Perhaps you could ask me, should we stop those progress, or should we choose those progress to continue?
What about update?
Thank you very much. One question only. One question, please. Everybody's invited.
No employee from Grand Bahama went out without their salary. They are being paid.
Prime Minister, the press secretary alluded to this a few weeks ago in the nation's capital that there could possibly be an end in sight between the arbitration agreement between the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government. Where are we with that? Is that the case? And what does that mean for residents of Grand Bahama?
Well, I'll say this. Because the arbitration is confidential, we're not to speak about it, but I'm advised by my lawyers that a decision from the hearing is imminent. We could have the result of that at any time now. When that comes out, then we can speak more about it once the arbitrators give us the opportunity, loosen some of the confidentiality from proceedings.
All right, Raquel Aubrey, the Riddle.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Prime Minister. You spoke about an MOU being signed with Emera and the Grand Bahama Power Company. How soon can residents of Grand Bahama feel the effects of lower energy rates?
As soon as the transaction is closed. And we estimate it will take about 60 to 90 days for the closure.
60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
All right, Megan Shepherd, our News.
Good afternoon. You mentioned phase one. You can see some work begins at phase one of the airport. How many phases are there? Can we get a date for that and the completion?
The phase one is started already. That is started. Phase two is the remediation, the flood remediation, which will be going in conjunction with phase one, which is the actual commencement of the construction of the terminal building.
And the final completion date of all phases?
Well, from all accounts, it should be within the next 18 months.
Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Prime Minister, of course you mentioned several memorandums of understandings that were signed, but I spoke with some Grand Bahamians today who say they still have yet to see the fruit of your labor, so to speak. Could you point to some what they're describing as real outcomes of some of the work that you've done?
Well, the economy is stable and has rebounded. It speaks to actual growth in Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama economic growth is the fastest growing economy at the moment in the archipelago. I accept that a lot of it may not have been felt as the way it should amongst the residents, but they cannot deny that Grand Bahamians are returning. There's a reason why they're returning. Other Bahamians are coming here. I see cars driving on the streets here that are from other islands. So that ought to speak to what is happening. Now, if no one is grasping the opportunities that are here, that is the atmosphere. If you notice in what I said, we have to create the conditions for economic growth. One thing we have done, we have created the conditions for economic growth. That's why people are coming. Tourist arrivals are through the roof in Grand Bahama. The amount of tourists that we have today have not been experienced since 1992, 93. That's what we're having here today. So those are things, are initiatives brought on by my administration.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Prime Minister. That brings our press briefing to a close. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Yeah, that's another one. These things are booming. It's money in the economy. Yeah, but they want to take out the negative. It's well done. Yeah, we could tell. I didn't think all this. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Only you say you're working.
They can't say me. So we can leave.
And that concludes today's press conference with government officials. But just to give you a quick recap on some of what the Prime Minister said, he began his statements by announcing a memorandum of understanding with Emera Incorporated concerning the Grand Bahama Power Company. Once completed, he stated that the agreement will mark the first time the government has had control over the island's power sector since the signing of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. The move strengthens national energy planning and is aimed at reducing energy costs for Bahamian households. The Prime Minister described the Memorandum of Understanding as a product of careful work and a sign of real progress. Turning to tourism, the Prime Minister pointed to what he described as real momentum. Air arrivals to Grand Bahama in 2025 are up by 30% compared to 2024, marking the island's Grand Bahama as the fastest growing tourism destination in the country, according to the nation's leader. He also highlighted phase one of the Grand Bahama International Airport redevelopment, which includes United States pre-clearance facilities, new taxi space, and expanded apron. Addressing long-standing flooding issues at the airport, the Prime Minister said that technical studies are being finalized to ensure that the facility is built with long-term resilience in mind, stressing that the airport is essential to the island's growth. Reflecting on the state of Grand Bahama when his administration took office in 2021, the Prime Minister said that the initial focus was on addressing immediate needs. Since 2021, he noted that the island has seen approximately $3.5 billion in investments across multiple sectors. He also defended the government's decision to challenge the Grand Bahama Port Authority, saying that a modern Grand Bahama requires accountability. Now, on the cruise tourism sector, the Prime Minister referenced yesterday's signing with the MSC for a cruise pier complex along with a new visitor and commercial infrastructure. That investment totals some $450 million and is expected to further strengthen Grand Bahama as a cruise destination. Addressing the Grand Lucayan Resort, the Prime Minister said that steady progress is being made, acknowledging that the project has many moving parts and requires proper execution. While recognizing that anxiety felt by residents, he criticized what he described as loud opposition from those he says contributed to the challenges in the first place, stating that their focus should be on moving Grand Bahama forward. He concluded his statements by saying that Grand Bahama deserves delivery and honesty. And that concludes today's press conference at the Office of the Prime Minister. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thanks so much for watching. Back to you in the Capitol.
The Sydney Poitier Bridge. I'm Kaylin Green. This is ZNS.
It's time to get wild at the San Diego Zoo.